Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Louise Houghton.
Hello and a warm welcome to our first highlights edition in 2013. Here's a look at what's coming up in the next half an hour. In focus, 100 years of Leica cameras. On release, the latest works by French singer Françoise. And in demand, sparkling wines from Germany go down a treat. Many of the world's most famous photographs have been taken with a Leica camera. German mechanic Otto Barnach invented the original model 100 years ago. It's remained popular to this day, but the company has also launched more modern products in recent years to keep up with the demands of the digital age.
The Leica created photographic history. It was the first practical camera to use standard cinema 35mm film. This small camera that produced a small negative was a technological milestone. It was also a commercial success when it went into production in 1924. Berlin-based photographer Michael Jungblut owns many Leicas. He bought his first one, an M2, back in the 1980s.
It's simply good German workmanship. The design is shapely, can't be beat, which is why they haven't changed it. It's perfect as it is. And then there's the sound the shutter release makes. Often when I'm at a shoot taking pictures with a Leica, some photographer turns around because he recognized the sound.
The world's top photojournalists captured their candid shots with a Leica. Among them, Frenchman Henri Cartier-Bresson and his German-born compatriot Giselle Freund. Images like these went around the world and often came to symbolize an entire era. And Leicas became iconic objects, prized not just by professionals. Michael Jungblut still likes to work with his Leica, not for shoots in his studio, but for documentary and narrative photography.
You don't have to carry much or take a bag with you. It's inconspicuous. And the nicest thing is that you're not taken seriously. I don't always want people to recognize that I'm a professional right away. That frightens many people off. Well, they ask what the pictures are for and start striking poses. I just don't want that.
A Leica is also a designer piece. Take this one, made entirely from titanium, or the special edition model by Hermes.
The Leica
has always had a unique design, so a new Paul Smith edition fits right in, without being a lifestyle product. The Hermes was styled by automotive designer Walter de Silva. But that just underlines that Leica embodies top German industrial design.
But a Leica can be a financial investment too. Early and rare models are coveted collector's items. Andreas Kaufmann owns the original prototype Leica. And a Leica from 1923 fetched 2.16 million euros at auction last May, a world record sum.
There are only 23 or perhaps just 21 Zero Series cameras. And only 80 of these gold Leicas with snakeskin covering were produced. Some have been lost for good. They're things that can't be replaced, and they represent part of photographic history.
In 2009, the Leica company introduced the digital M9 and the S2 medium format camera. Since then, sales have increased. The latest and most expensive model is the Leica S. The body alone costs 20,000 euros.
Leica's advantage is that it has the best lenses around. They're capable of creating the best lenses. I think they've only made the S because they realized they need a body that matches their lenses. The idea for the camera is good.
A new book is out to mark Leica's upcoming centenary. Browsing through it is like leafing through the history of photography, in which Leica played a major role, and still does.
Singer Françoise Hardy has been a household name in her native France for 50 years. Now she's published her 28th album as well as an autobiographical novel. She recently held a book signing in the French capital, Paris, but kindly took time out to talk to us about her career.
These days, it's rare for Françoise Hardy to appear before her fans. But having just released a new album and published a new book, she can't help avoid giving autographs. The book and the album both are titled L'amour fou, which more or less means mad passion.
Love in the sense of passion is bound to be mad. Every time you fall in love, you go mad. The object of your affections becomes a downright god. You idealize him to an extreme. Everything depends on him, so it's very excessive. Mad passion is a tautology.
On the album, as so often, Hardy sings her trademark romantic songs, tinged with melancholy.
The studio is where everything happens. It's a magical place. It's where the alchemy takes place, where songs arise. When you go into a studio that wasn't built recently, you know that lots of artists, each more prestigious than the next, have been there and recorded so many albums. For me, it's the most extraordinary place there is.
Le lieu le plus extraordinaire qui existe.
Hardy wrote almost all the new songs herself.
I've always given my private life priority over my professional one. I sort of glided through my professional life. What does it consist of? You travel, you sleep in some hotel or other. You're alone, you get bored. You miss people you'd like to be with. It's really not that much fun.
She hasn't given a concert since 1968, but that doesn't seem to have harmed her career. Still, she views her years of success with mixed feelings.
On the one hand, it makes me sad that time goes so fast and I have much less of it before me than behind me. That's very hard to accept. On the other, I'm grateful to the public for letting me be here 50 years later. Being an artist is extremely difficult, and the fact that I'm here after 50 years doing things that still interest audiences is a miracle.
Françoise Hardy has no intention of retiring. On the contrary, a second career may be in the making. In her new autobiographical novel, she deals again with her favorite topic, passionate, impossible love.
And staying with French icons, champagne is undoubtedly one of the world's finest sparkling wines. But it can only be referred to as champagne if it comes from the region of the same name. Other countries produce similar bottles of bubbly, but they can only name them sparkling wines. We visited one family business in the southwest of Germany that was one of the first to make its sparkling wine using exactly the same methods as they do in France.
Ringing in the new year with a glass of sparkling wine is a popular tradition in many places, but nowhere more so than in Germany. And that means business for vintners like Regina Menger-Krug, whose family has been making bubbly for 8 generations in Deidesheim in southwestern Germany. What does she think is important to becoming a successful vintner?
You have to give in to nature to a certain extent. Always go out, no matter what the weather.
Regina Menger-Krug puts her trust in Mother Nature. Roses and more than 100 different herbs help fertilize the soil. Pesticides are strictly taboo. She believes that if the grapes don't do well in the vineyard, modern technology can't help them much either.
Good wine-growing sites are always a bit finicky. They're like divas. You have to take the wines as they come. And you have to realize that at the beginning they can still be a little restless, maybe from fermentation, but that eventually calms down. They just need a little more time. They need tender love and care, the way we women like it, right?
Riesling, Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Noir. The fine white wines maturing in these barrels will later become sparkling wine. Regina Menger-Krug's secret is her moonwood barrels, made from trees felled as the moon was waning. The famous violin maker Stradivari swore by moonwood too.
The wood is fine poured. These barrels are like a cradle for the wine. It's astonishing. Everyone is amazed by how it works.
A great deal of love and patience goes into each bottle. The Menger-Krug winery makes sparkling wine the classic French way, like champagne. The wine ferments with yeast in the bottle for 9 months to 2 years. Then the yeast is removed. This bottle of wine has been fermenting for more than 30 years and is still drinkable.
It's also fascinating that as long as the yeast remains in the wine, the sparkling wine doesn't age. The yeast is like a fountain of youth.
The 500-year-old winery is a traditional family operation.
I was very lucky with my parents because they raised me simply as a person and not as a girl. It was a gender-neutral upbringing. I was taught that I could achieve whatever I wanted.
The number of women vintners is on the rise, but 3 generations is a rarity. Regina Menger-Krug's 92-year-old mother is still involved, and soon daughter Marie will take over.
I won't be changing much because my parents have done a great job. Some people I studied with have had conflicts with the older generation, and that can get in the way. But my parents have stayed young and fit. They'll be happy to work another 50 years.
Practical knowledge passed down generations and attention to nature. Those are the secrets of the success of Regina Menger-Krug's outstanding sparkling wines.
10 years ago, a Swiss snowboarder decided to build an igloo up on the mountaintop and spend the night surrounded by snow. He's since made this concept into a thriving hotel business, welcoming some 10,000 visitors per season. So not only do the guests get to wake up to a fantastic view, they also get to be the first ones on the slopes in the morning.
The Engelberg Igloo Village is a hotel in the Swiss Alps. It lies at 2,000 meters altitude and is made entirely of snow. Rosa Schneier directed its construction, paying special attention to the works of ice art for the interiors, based on the tales of the Arabian Nights.
Unser Publikum sind sehr viele Romantikpärchen, sehr viele, die eben zu zweit zusammenkommen.
Our guests include lots of couples, so our in-house art is always romantic and cheerful. The ice art is very important because we can work a lot with the lighting and create a nice atmosphere.
Und auch schöne Akzente setzen können.
The ice hotel can accommodate 54 people. Many pick the so-called romantic igloo suite for 2. Among the current guests are Lukas Buchali and Giliana Velti. Instead of a regular hotel, they chose to spend the 430 euros a night to sleep here.
The sleeping bags here warm you up pretty quickly. In just 5 minutes, you're pretty toasty.
It's not really as cold as it sounds. At first we thought it'd be ice cold in these sleeping bags. But right from the start, they inform you about how to dress and keep warm. I never froze.
Snow keeps a constant temperature. We put in doors that we can close to keep out the cold. So even when it's 20 degrees below outside, it's just 1 or 2 degrees below inside. So it feels warm when you come in.
For now, the temperatures are still unseasonably mild, and many of the igloo villages in the region still have a lot of work to do, Engelberg included. The last suite is just getting the finishing touches. It will sleep 6.
We blow up a large balloon and then pile up a thick layer of snow with the snowblower, up to 1 meter of snow. 2 or 3 days later, we take the balloons out and have the rough form. Then the artists and the building team shape the beds and decorate it.
Work on the igloo next door is further along. A Finnish ice art duo are carving a wall relief for a conference room. They have to hurry.
You have to manage with the many things, not only with your piece what you're doing, but also with the people around and with the old machinery, and make timetables when to do what and this kind of stuff. And quite fast. This comes like in 3 weeks from nothing, then you have this.
Overnight guests start arriving that very evening. 80% of them are from Switzerland, but a few come from further afield.
We just got in from Hawaii, and I'm wondering if it's going to be more of a culture shock or a temperature shock.
So far, it's pretty amazing. It's like I'd never seen anything like this.
I wasn't expecting. When I walked into the dining room, I squealed. I love all the intricate work on the snow. It's really incredible.
It's warmer in here than I thought it'd be. It's okay for me. I hope it's okay for her, too.
Even so, a mulled wine from the ice bar can hit the spot and help make a night in an igloo village in the Alps toasty warm.
Well, if you prefer to stay somewhere a little less snowy, then Dublin could be a great option. On the 1st of January, Ireland took over the rotating European Union presidency. So for the next 6 months, all eyes will be on its capital as it plays host to dozens of high-level EU meetings. Dublin is rich in tradition and culture, so we thought this was the perfect time to pay it a visit.
Despite a population of 500,000, the Irish capital, Dublin, still retains some small-town charm and attracts Irish as well as foreign visitors in abundance. One of the city's well-known landmarks is the statue of fishmonger Molly Malone in the center. Anna-Maria Kankaisto of Finland moved here a year ago and fell in love with the city.
There's always something to do here. There is art, culture, theatre, music. There's always music in Dublin. There's a strong sense of community as well. People really help each other out and are very outgoing and friendly.
Anna-Maria Kankaisto is a fan of Dublin's small independent shops and the burgeoning fashion scene here. In her spare time, Anna-Maria writes up her latest discoveries on her blog. One is Project 51, a small shop in the middle of the city's creative quarter, the place to find cutting-edge Irish design talent. Right here next door, young designers are hard at work on brand-new creations.
Every time I come to this store, there's always something new. So definitely it's a very, very vivid and alive industry at the moment. My impression is that many designers are continuing the tradition of wool and linen and natural materials that have been popular in Ireland since centuries.
The Guinness Storehouse is a popular stop-off for many tourists. The Brewery Museum shows how the world-famous Irish stout is made. Here, visitors can get first-hand tips from the professionals on how to pull the perfect pint. The basic ingredients in Guinness are water, hops, yeast, and of course barley.
Guinness has been here since 1759, so just over 250 years of history. And right behind me here is the actual Guinness Brewery at St James's Gate. And here at the Guinness Storehouse is the home of Guinness, the largest visitor attraction in Ireland, where over 1 million visitors per year come in to find out a bit more about Guinness, pour the perfect pint, and of course see the beautiful views in Gravity Bar.
And the bar literally has one of Dublin's top locations, on the roof of the museum. Dublin's pubs usually begin to fill up around nightfall. The Temple Bar District is the place to head for a traditional Irish pub experience.
I think there is a strong pub culture in Ireland, and my guess that one of the reasons is the weather. Because it rains often in Dublin, people go in and stop by for a drink during the day when they're walking outside, and then go back after work and to see sports or just to meet up with some friends.
And knowing the Irish fondness for a pint or two, an evening at a Dublin pub is likely to be a long one.
If fine dining is more up your street than an Irish pub, then La Belle Époque is a restaurant that should be on your radar. Based in Travemünde on the Baltic coast, it's one of only 10 restaurants in Germany to have been awarded 3 Michelin stars in the latest German edition of the Gourmet Guide. We met up with the head chef, Kevin Fehling, who, at 35, is now Germany's youngest 3-star chef.
The peace and tranquility of Germany's Baltic Sea coast. That's the view enjoyed by guests at the 3-star La Belle Époque restaurant. But the sea views aren't the only sumptuous sight on offer. Chef Kevin Fehling serves up world-class cuisine, such as knuckle of pork with oysters and fried potato gelée. His modern take on traditional German cooking has proved a recipe for success.
It takes a lot of sacrifice. You need to invest a lot of time and just grin and bear it. Then, if you're lucky, you might get a chance to explore your own ideas in your own restaurant and prove what you're capable of, both technically and creatively. That's an important part of it.
Fehling has a penchant for classic dishes made with exotic ingredients. His Black Forest Gâteau is made with chocolate from Brazil, Peru, and Bolivia. He also likes to keep up with technical innovations in cooking, such as the use of liquid nitrogen. It takes at least 2 months to learn how to blow a sugar ball. It's remarkably quiet in Kevin Fehling's kitchen. He expects utmost concentration and perfectionism from his trusty team of 6.
He sets the bar high. We always aim to serve our guests the very best. We do everything we can to give the boss exactly what he wants.
At midday, the boss samples his latest creations. His goose liver has been decorated with a Mayan calendar. As he sees it, his dishes tell a story. He sets aside up to 4 hours a day to experiment with new dishes.
I suspect that most chefs don't spend enough time away from the kitchen. Cooking can only be unique and original when you come up with new ideas by letting your mind run free.
He was born and brought up close to the port city of Bremen.
I was always very ambitious, but not about school. I preferred skateboarding. All the time, in fact. Later, when I realized that I also have to earn a living, I wanted to start working as soon as I could.
Kevin Fehling spent 2 years working in the kitchen of a cruise liner. After a spell in Hamburg, he worked at a 3-star restaurant in southern Germany. La Belle Époque in Travemünde is housed in a former casino that used to be a popular haunt among celebrities. Fehling took over the helm in 2005. He was awarded his first Michelin star in 2008 and a second in 2011. A month ago, he was awarded number 3 and couldn't hide his joy at the news. But now it's back to business as usual. Nothing leaves the kitchen without Kevin Fehling's blessing. He doesn't want to lose one of his hard-earned Michelin stars, after all.
We have to keep working hard to deserve them. The testers are anonymous. They reserve a table, eat, pay, and leave. So we have to maintain our 3-star standards day in, day out.
Kevin Fehling might want to strike out for distant shores one day, but for now he's happy keeping northern Germany on the gourmet map.
And I don't know about you, but that's made me feel very hungry. So I think I'm going to go and grab a bite to eat because we've come to the end of the show. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.